I wanted to share why we started this business to begin with. We started looking into the property management space when it came to short-term rentals and vacation rentals. And what we found out before we even knew what kind of product we were going to build really astonished us. We found out that there's hardworking property managers like yourself, and there's a lot of them. But you are really in a unique position. You, as property managers, you have the ability to make people's lifelong dreams come true. You also have the ability to turn them into a nightmare, which sometimes happens. But you also take care of some of the most valued possessions some families have. And this is a really unique position to be in. Your job is really valuable, and we decided to build a company around the idea of making property managers more successful. As a side effect of that, we ended up building a quite good vacation rental software, because we quickly found out that one of the biggest obstacles property managers have is finding the right piece of software. We can go to the next slide. I just wanted to share quickly where we are today. We have over 300 employees we didn't update it. We actually have 55 countries right now. So wherever you are in the world, I can guarantee you that there's someone nearby, except Northern Canada and apparently Russia. But other than that, yeah, we became the first unicorn of the entire vacation rental technology industry. But I'm not here to talk about Hostaway. I wanted to talk about the property managers, you all out there. Now, your job is truly unique, but it's not always great. It's not always fun. It's a really interesting challenge to grow a property management business, but you need a couple of skills. And the list of skills that you need are much bigger than any other job I've seen. You need to be a good lawyer. You need to be a real estate broker, an interior designer, customer support expert. You need to be a marketing guru. You need to be a sales wizard, an HR assistant. You need to be a cleaner, an accountant, sometimes even a wedding planner. And of course, you're an asset manager. Most of you out there, you manage assets worth millions. And you're not managing them for large corporations that treat it as a marginal error. Sometimes you are managing the most valuable asset an entire family has. And it's not an easy job. I truly respect all the work that you're doing. And believe me, we're working here, all 300 of us, to make you more successful. Now, there's one thing that also makes our industry very unique, because everything is happening online. Compare this to an airline where you got physical seats and you need to get people in a plane, and sometimes the plane flies away and sometimes it doesn't move. Or you got a hotel where you got a front desk where everything is coordinated. But in our case, in our industry, there is no such thing. There is no centralized place. It's all online. And the great thing is there's a lot of data available to help you. However, that data up until now has been hidden inside of Hostaway. I'll try to name a couple of examples here. Have you ever wondered? Sometimes you get a 4-star review, and I know how much those hurt. At least they hurt me as a host. Give me 5 or 1, but don't give me a 4. But have you ever wondered who is the cleaner that always cleans before those 4-star reviews? Have you ever looked into, is there perhaps one of your properties that generates 130% more guest messages than the average property, and that means 130% more work? Did you know that probably you have 1 or 2 properties that you are operating at a loss right now? Have you ever thought about that property number 12, if you add a hot tub to it in the market, comparing to the competition, right now you could add $1,500 in revenue? These are just some questions that I have been asking over the years, and I'm sure many of you have as well. So let's go to the next slide. So basic AI can't really help you here. It doesn't have access to the details. What you need is a strategic thought partner. this is what we originally wanted to build with Hostaway, and it turned out the best support we can give is actually good software with the best support available on the planet. But now we're about to announce something even better. So I'm going to hand it over to our CPTO, Rick.
Yeah, so thank you, Marcus. Thanks for the introduction. I'm extremely excited today to announce the Hostaway AI CoHost. And CoHost is going to help you change the way you kind of run your business day to day. It's going to be continuously on the side to help you, not just cheer you on, but also actually, help you by a very actionable, not just insights, but also offload you to kind of have to do less stuff yourself overall. We were so committed and so happy kind of around this launch, which we've been building already for almost a year. And we've been actually kind of using kind of a lot of our partnerships with a lot of you here. I know that many of the early access adopters have been here, but we've been testing this out with real users for the last couple of months already as well, that we actually even got a launch video. So I'm going to play a very short 90-second introduction to the new world of AI native PMS. AI CoHost. And yes, I'm already seeing some questions. You will be able to see this video as well as the recording after the webinar. I think Marcus mentioned, right? Like live as a property manager has changed. And I think not just for property managers, but overall the entire industry in the software world has changed substantially. There's a lot of different AIs, a lot of different tools, a lot of different kind of capabilities being built. But a lot of this stuff is only getting you so far, right? There's very, very few solutions and very few companies in the world that really understand how short-term rental properties work day in, day out, right? There's a lot of specific context, a lot of specific knowledge, a lot of standard operating procedures that ChatGPT doesn't understand out of the box, but Hostaway does, right? Because Hostaway has been building software for the kind of property managers all over the world for the last 10 years. I think another kind of big building block for us is that we always wanted to make sure that if we build a different way of working, it shouldn't be generic. It shouldn't just be kind of generic tips or generic ways to kind of get some insights. It should be heavily customized and heavily applicable to your context. So the AI CoHost is always operating based on your Hostaway data. It always is able to read exactly what's going on your account. It understands the interactions you have with your guests, and it understands also the dynamics amongst your team. So whenever you talk to CoHost, it's not a generalized vanilla AI that many of them are out there. It's actually completely tailored and in context to your operations and your actual business.
So the other thing, Rick, I just wanted to say that there's a lot of generic AI there. There's way too much. When we started working on this, I told the team, I showed them that on WhatsApp you now have an AI assistant. So I asked the AI assistant, "Hey, there was this guy on Miami. He wanted to go paddleboarding with me, and that sounds exciting because I don't have anyone to paddleboard with. Can you find him in the chats?" And the AI assistant said, "Sorry, I don't have access to your chats." Why is there an AI assistant there? That's the only thing I need the WhatsApp AI assistant to do, is to go through my messages and find the right message or find the right people, and it can't do the one thing. So I told our team, we need the exact opposite of that. We need an AI that actually answers exactly the questions that you have. Sorry, Rick, I didn't want to steal your
No,
thunder.
no, don't worry about it. I think we're all pretty excited about this, Marcus. So I'm also kind of making sure that I kind of convey everything properly without getting too carried away. Because I think one of the other differentiators that we kind of are really kind of looking for is that there is with honestly also there's other PMSs that have AI interfaces. We also see that the real usage of those and the real kind of actual value of those are relatively limited, which is another pillar that was kind of going into the design of this solution from the get-go, which is that we are basically building Hostaway CoHost to act. We want to make sure you're not able to just ask questions. We want to be able to make sure that you can also get those recommendations applied directly in your Hostaway account. Not autonomously. We want to make sure you are in control and you can approve every single action. But over the next couple of months, we're going to be rolling out more and more things that allows you to also act upon the actual analysis and data that you see in the co-host being recommended. Co-host. So I think we kind of already kind of got a bit enthusiastic about some of the things we mentioned here, right? But there's a lot of AI out there. There's a lot of AIs that are able to help you kind of answer questions. There's AIs that can service insights, but it's often also a kind of an ancillary thing. It's another input, another thing that you continuously have to build and train, and often also is outside of your day-to-day. Whereas what we really see that property managers need, and also our early access users continuously gave us very positive feedback around, is that we don't just kind of give you some recommendations. We allow you to do it in the context of your business, and it helps you close the loop, right? It helps you be staying much more on top of everything that's going on into your Hostaway account. The other thing, and this is kind of going on in the next couple of months, is that what I said before, we're going to make sure that it's proactive and not just reactive. It's not just going to give you recommendations, but it's if you kind of agree to this and if you commit to kind of give it approvals, you're going to be able to kind of get these type of recommendations to be applied on demand or even proactively if you're comfortable putting those kind of give co-host more control, because we want to make sure that you stay in control for whatever co-host is about to do or is about to kind of recommend. The way that we look at co-host is basically three kind of pillars. There's ask, there's analyze, and there's act, right? So ask is the first pillar. You can type any type of question or describe what you need like you have a partner, right? It's a thought partner. Co-host is really your literal co-host. You can talk to him like it's your partner and try to understand what's going on in your business. Are there specific things that you're missing out on? What's going on? What's urgent? What are the main issues being received today? What are my reviews saying? How are my properties doing overall? But that's just the first level, like because asking is just a starting point of a conversation. We're going to allow you to analyze this in depth as well with embedded graphs, tables, pie charts, and all type of interactive elements that make it not just a wall of text, but make it much more easy to consume also and analyze how your business is doing. It is helping you service trends. It's helping you show risks. It's overall showing you how your performance is also different per, kind of your property, right? Because especially when you have, more than 2, 3 properties, it becomes more and more difficult to stay on top of everything that's going on in your business. It's becoming increasingly difficult to make you feel like you're in control. And analyze isn't just for your properties, right? It's also going into the actual experiences of your guests. What's going on in your guest messaging? What teams have responded in your reservations departments to inquiries? What type of guest messages maybe have gone unanswered? And somebody needs to look at this, right? Because the one thing that I think we hear a lot from our hosts, especially if they're scaling, that once you start building a business and you start having that actual team of people that look after your guests, making sure that nothing's getting missed and being done to the same level of quality like you would expect it becomes more and more difficult. So that's the analyze part, and then act. And this is coming soon. And we're deliberately not starting with this today because we want to get your feedback. We want to see how you use the ask and analyze parts. But already heavily on the background, we're working on a hub of recommendations that co-host is proactively going to recommend to you to apply to your account. And those things can be from guest communication, servicing wrong information, recurring things that are being coming back based on reviews, or overall in kind of recommendations on how to kind of change your pricing strategy, your ADRs, or overall yield a higher kind of occupancy. This recommendation hub is going to help you to act on all these insights. It's going to proactively show what we think as Hostaway, the largest property management system in the world for short-term rental, to basically what the best thing is you could do, and kind of basically give you a set of recommendations that you can act upon. This also is going to be natively inside the conversations that you're going to allow to kind of have the actions that host is recommending to you be applied with a single click of a button. I also think, and this is the exciting, but I'm also not gonna lie, at the same time scary part, right? So there's a lot of different companies that have beautiful marketing slides, that have beautiful things that they're launching, and maybe even equally beautiful launch videos. But we don't think that is really what a launch is, what it should be. We think a launch should actually be a live demo, right? We want to be able to show you in real life what this actually means. I'm going to say up front, AI is non-deterministic. It's a probabilistic system. So let's see what we're going to get out of this today. And I'm going to just quickly switch over to my screen, and I'm going to go live into a actual Hostaway account. And I think it would be great if somebody tells me that you can actually see my screen. Marcus or Alex, can you guys see my screen? Just want to make sure.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure it actually worked. So this is a account on Hostaway, and there's a beautiful button here on the top right that says co-host. So I'm just going to go in there and see what's going on. I think straight from the get-go, there's already quite a lot of things that are being recommended, right? So in reservations tab, there's a bunch of things that I can ask. On the performance tab, there's a stuff of recommended questions I can ask. And on the quality tab, there's a set of recommended questions I can ask. But why don't we start simple, right? Let's just do something very easy. What are the check-ins for today? Because I'm waking up and I want to know what's going on. And again, co-host is going to go into your account and is going to figure out what's going on, and it's seeing exactly what's happening. Okay, so there's a Dorothy checking in. She's checking in early. John is asking kind of 2 p.m. Okay, that's great. I kind of want to know, is there anything special? Are there any special requests, right? So is there anything I need to know of these specific check-ins just to understand what I need to do? I see so many questions all at the same time, and I can't even, I'm not that good of a multitasker. So I think Marcus, Josh, Alex, you guys are going to have to help me for sure if I see how many questions are already in the Q&A section now, and we're just a few minutes in. All right, so this is great. So Dorothy is going to be checking in around 3 p.m. and Hoyt asked about parking. So that probably means I need to make sure that his license plate is added to the parking lot so he can actually get there himself. So that's good. That's an easy start, right? That's a smooth, short, easy start. Let's go a bit more and maybe the analyze, right? So let's just actually see how are my listings performing over the last few months, over the last 6 months, and how does it compare? How does it compare year over year? Over year. Show me. Let's see. So co-host is pulling all your data. It's not requiring you to build a dashboard or apply a bunch of filters. It's actually going through your real historical data to figure out exactly what's going on. And I think there's quite some interesting views here, right? Let me actually check this graph. It looks a bit small. I'm actually going to just double check here. Okay, so this Yogi Toad is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in my portfolio. That's interesting. Okay, there's quite some differences here. That's quite interesting. What's actually happening here? So there's a year-on-year reduction. The revenue per night is up substantially. And Yogi Toad by far is the best one. Okay, so this is interesting. I've asked the question, but now I want to know a little bit more, right? Like, what are my worst performing properties? And ignore the ones that are 0, right? I think if it's 0, I'm probably still onboarding it. I want to know the real kind of properties that are actually happening, actually doing stuff. All right, so okay, there's quite a lot of opportunity here to get the 3% occupancy up. I think that's probably a problem here. Okay, so there's quite some insights here, but what can I actually do with this? I actually just want to know what do reviews say here, right? What do reviews say on these worst performing properties? I'm just gonna see what this actually means, because why is this low, right? I could have seen myself in the dashboard, that there was a low kind of occupancy, but I would love to actually understand why without having to go through 3, 4, or 5 different pages to kind of figure this out myself.
While the co-host is thinking, I see that there's a lot more questions on the chat than there is on the QA functionality. We won't be able to go through the chat questions, but please put your questions in the Q&A section. If you have a smaller window, click on more, and there's a QA section. We promise we'll get back to those that we have time to come back to.
So this is actually a perfect example, right? Because what I actually asked the co-host is, what do the reviews say, right? The reviews are normally what you look at to see how your company or how your properties are performing. What co-host actually figured out, because it understands the short-term rental market and understands how STR businesses work, it actually didn't do what I asked. It actually went a step beyond. it didn't just look at my reviews, but actually started analyzing the guest messages that were actually coming from real guests to understand really what is happening in the real conversations between basically your team and the actual guests. And this is where I see there's quite some topics that I need to address, right? Things like door code, access issues, cleanliness issues, Wi-Fi being down since arrival. That stuff is non-negotiable in 2026, right? I think Wi-Fi is coming a recurring issue for several properties, which kind of means I probably got to invest in a good IT guy. I would say I can help you. I'm quite the good nerd myself, but I've been busy building stuff for you guys, so I'm probably not going to help you fix your Wi-Fi, unfortunately. So let's see. There's quite some good stuff here. Maybe go one level deeper. What are the biggest complaints, right? What are the biggest complaints? What are the biggest complaints? Yeah, so the check-in, the Wi-Fi cleanliness, these are real things I'm going to make sure my team is on top of because this is not really acceptable. And it's, pulling it from a different variety of sources, from the OTAs, from the reviews, from the guest messages, and it's really giving me a very tangible set of actions. I may be also a little bit lazy, right? And this sounds to a surprise to some, not so much of a surprise like others. So I'm actually a little bit bored with the typing, and I want to have maybe go a little bit deeper on the analyze part. I want to know in much more depth what's actually where are my guests from. I want to know what channels they're originating from and what kind of differences are there. So I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to just start talking to co-host. Hey, co-host, can you maybe visualize for me where my guests are coming from which channel? What are my best performing channels over time? There we go. So that saved me at least 20 seconds to type. Even if I'm a fast keyboard nerd, keyboard warrior, I think there's not much that can beat actual real-time voice. And this is interesting. Okay, so direct is doing really well. This user has 38.6% of their market coming from direct actual bookings, which I think probably means that they're using our advanced booking engine, which we launched just a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen that, I would recommend go watch the last webinar when we launched another major product to kind of get you help you with getting much more direct bookings as well. But this is really interesting because since we launched that, the actual percentage of direct bookings for this customer has gone up substantially, right? Followed by a steady growth in booking.com. And it's giving me much more opportunities here to kind of go deeper. I think I could probably come up with 20 more questions that I'm going to ask around the channel distribution and how I could optimize this and how I could optimize my listings and how I can optimize the actual ADR, RevPAR, and all this stuff. But I don't want to bore you guys. So I might be going to do, I don't know, one or two things that I kind of can ask as well, because I can go and keep going all day here, to be honest. What about expenses, right? So one thing that comes up quite often, I think, is not just managing guests, but you also want to manage your owners, right? They're on the phone, they're asking you questions. What's going on with this? What's going on with that? So, actually, let's just go there. I also actually would love to understand on the fee side, right? What type of fees are kind of recurring, or maybe are there different properties that have a disproportionate amount of fees that owners are complaining around as well? So let's see. Hey, co-host, are there any properties with disproportionate fees or expenses that I should double check? Can you maybe show me per listing what I should double check? So let's see what's going on here. Oh, there's so many questions. It's crazy. All right. So there's a few of them here. Okay. So guest fees are pretty high. That's interesting. I think there's some disproportionate amount of cleaning fees for these few properties. So I should probably take a look at this. I think tax mapping also, okay. I'm going to double check this later. I think there's quite some, actually, it's giving you some pretty good recommendations, right? So show me a rank table of every listing's fees and expense percentages. I kind of want to know this, right? I don't even have to come up with the question myself. It's actually going to figure it out. I want to know this for maybe this one. Let's see what we find. Let's see. All right. Okay. So the taxes, hotel taxes, interesting. Okay. So I think this is not correct. And I'm going to check this later because we should not have 25% of the revenue going to taxes. I think we've misconfigured something on the OTA side, or the OTAs are charging me too much. But I'm going to check this later, and it's giving me some actionable stuff on what I actually should be doing. Maybe one last thing. I'm going to take a sip of water. That's first. Because it's about 34 degrees here today, Celsius. So it's getting quite warm and steamy here. Maybe it's a very practical last example. I just kind of want to know, what do I need to focus on, right? My team is running the business. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of check-ins, a lot of checkouts, a lot of turnover. What is the real thing that I should be focusing on today? I want to know, Amy, what happened the last week. Hey, co-host, what have guests been saying for the last week that I really should be focused on today? Are there any urgent messages or anything I should focus on that my team hasn't done yet? Let's see what's going on here. I kind of want to know just a very actionable plan. What do I need to focus on? It's 9 a.m. I'm ready for the week. What has my team done? What has my team not done yet? I really want to just be very tangible and very kind of actionable to understand what my time needs to go to as well. All right, so there's some access issues, some lock issues. Okay, I can open straight away the conversation or the actual reservation straight from co-host. That's very helpful. There's some critical maintenance. So there's no hot water in the shower and it needs fixing today. That's really not great. And I think there's some actual questions here that I really need to make sure I'm going to give my team a call that they can't have, what's her name, Camilla Bauch, wait for hot water. Although I will admit in the 33 degrees Celsius, I would prefer the cold over the hot water today. And maybe the last thing, and this is, I think, kind of another thing, right? There's a bunch of questions here, a bunch of actions for me. Some are more important than other things are, but I'm not alone, right? So I might have some different nationalities in my team. I might have some different kind of people that have kind of run our day-to-day operations. So let me change it up a little bit. Excusez-moi, co-host, donnez-moi les 13 priorités principales, merci. Let's just see what we're going to get here, because actually a lot parts of my team is French speaking. So it seems that Yannick Stam is the biggest one that needs focus. So I think that's the one that we're going to have to focus on mostly. And maybe lastly, to drive this point down as well, because I think there's this misconception that Hostaway is just an American company, which we're not, because we're a global company. We're a kind of a global kind of PMS for all types of customers. Let's just kind of just switch it up one more time, which is also partially maybe an ability for me to kind of show all the amazing language skills I have. Hola, co-host. ¿Me puedes decir esto también en español? Let's see what's going on. Okay, it can. I just wanted to double check it can do it in Spanish. And if I'm working on it anyway, I think there's in the chat, there's some people realizing my Dutch accent coming through. Co-host, kan je me dit ook in het Nederlands vertellen? Heb ik nog iets anders waar ik echt op moet focussen? And that's the last thing I'm going to do, because I think I'm going to try. Yeah, so it's still Yannick, and there's indeed a couple of other things that he cannot enter the building. We need to focus on this. I can go for hours. I can do so much kind of different kind of use cases, and not just that amount of languages, but just also inside the actual PMS context. There's quite a lot of stuff to do here. I think this is a starting point, right? So we're going to be building more and more stuff on top of co-host over the next couple of years, right? We've already been working for quite some time on making this a real good experience, because what I said, there's already been quite some customers that have been using this for the last couple of months to kind of be an early access user for us as well. There's much more stuff already in today, but there's much more stuff coming, right? So today you can already do your revenue insights. You can ask about your listing details, your property details, your revenue trends over time. You can compare it between listings, between owners, between channels, between everything you can think of. I think you saw me ask about cost and expenses for a little bit, occupancy insights, like how can I improve reservations, guest messaging. There's so much stuff here already in the first version. But over the next couple of weeks and months, there's going to be more stuff, right? So we're going to have owner access in the future as well, allowing you to just have your owner self-serve as much as possible. And a lot of those questions that they might just pick up the phone for, or drop you an iMessage or text message or WhatsApp message, have them give the ability to self-service directly there. And one other cool thing, and especially when you kind of combine the actual, I would say, the voice part of it, is that co-host is also coming to the mobile app. And we're going to be launching this already this summer. So I think it's a very nice demo, right? It's kind of convenient, it's handy, but I know how many of you are on the road every single day, or going in between properties, or just kind of in a bit of a chaotic spot, and having to open your mobile or like your iPad or grab your laptop to do some stuff is not that easy. At least it's not that easy just talking to co-host. Hey, co-host, this property I'm at right now has no warm water. Can you please block the calendar for the next 3 days so the cleaner can come by? Also, by the way, can you create a task for the cleaner so they make sure they need to go here ASAP? Thank you. Bye. That's a lot easier, I think, than opening the app and going through a bunch of different screens. Even though I would say our app is top rated on the App Store, but that's a small kind of slight side note. We've shared over the last couple of months that we are building the Hostaway operating system, right? So the operating system that helps you sell more, manage more effectively, and analyze deeper, right? And overall helps you kind of as the property manager to continuously improve your business. The Hostaway OS sits at the center of basically your business. And co-host is going to be a huge driver here. We're going to make sure that across all these pillars and all the new features, products, and capabilities that Hostaway launches, CoHost is going to continue to build more and more into this kind of new type of capabilities and tie it all together for you. Not just for you, but also for your team, right? Because our objective is to make sure that we use AI in a way that makes you more efficient and allows you to scale your business more substantially with fewer investments. So that's a very long-winded way to say that I am extremely excited around CoHost. The team has been working on this for quite some time. And I know that there's literally hundreds of people in this webinar right now. It's just slightly insane. But yeah, I'm just going to hand it over briefly to Josh for a quick recap of everything we talked about today.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. I wouldn't want to lie to people and say this is absolutely amazing and act like I've never seen this before. I've watched you guys build this over the last year, and I knew how game-changing this would be. I'm just really excited that now we can launch this to everybody in our platform. If you're a Hostaway client, this is available for you right now inside of your platform. Go in and test it out. It's absolutely amazing. And one of the things that came to mind here is something Marcus mentioned at the first of the call, but I'll say it again. Hostaway was built by technology veterans, right? We build software for people. This is not something that was built on the back of our property management company. We talk to our users and we say, how do we get them to the next stage of technology? When you guys came to us, you were looking for certain technologies to help you increase bookings, helping you reduce time and give better experiences to your guests and to your owners. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Year over year, month over month, we're always looking for the ways that we can provide you an advantage through technology to be able to service your company, right? So built by software veterans, making sure that we're continuing to do that for you. It's really changing the way that we do business and that we manage our businesses, right? I remember talking to Marcus a year or two ago, and I said, the biggest thing that I'm getting out of AI right now is that logging into your platform or any SaaS software platform and going and clicking on run report or click here, click there, do this, do that. Like that's all going away. Like what we're going to need to be able to do is we're going to need to be able to talk to our platform as you would a person. And that's what Rick is showing you today in not just English, but in multiple languages. So Rick, thanks for that. So I would say this is just the beginning, but quite frankly, we've been releasing so much AI functionality, not this year, but last year. We were the first ones to bring AI technology to the forefront in property management software. The AI auto-replies, we're first to market with that. We're just going to continue on. The great thing about the co-host is that if you go in and there's something that's not bringing you any value right now, we'll have a log of that and we'll be able to quickly prioritize and be able to make sure that co-host is able to solve for those issues moving forward. So it really is just the beginning when it comes to our co-host. There's going to be so much more added onto that. And Rick kind of showed you what that looks like moving forward. But this is a really, really great announcement. And it's really great because it's going to be able to, continue to help you evolve as a company and really have that edge when it comes to running a property management company. We know how tight your margins are, right? Your percentage-based companies. So any sort of advantage you can get through technology, obviously you want that. And that's what we're here to provide. And before we get out of here, I think it would be doing me a disservice if I didn't mention our customer success team. We are the only property management software that offers 24/7 dedicated support, no matter how much you pay us. And that's important, right? Because there's a lot of property management softwares out there that will only provide you support if you pay them a certain amount of money. We don't do that. We never have. Part of our vision here at Hostaway is that, or part of our values here at Hostaway is that if our customers are successful, that means we're going to be successful. We've been very successful as a company. We're the first billion-dollar software company in the property management space. And the reason that is because we've continued to focus on our clients. So we publish our phone number. You can go Google it. We're here 24/7 every day, holidays, all of that good stuff. We've got 300 people around the world. We're going to continue to do that. You guys are busy, your property management companies, you're dealing with maintenance, you're dealing with guests, you're dealing with owners, right? So we need to make sure we're here because at the end of the day, right, no matter how good the platform is, you're going to have questions, right? Something's going to come up that you're going to want to know how to do, or there's going to be an error or something that you just don't understand, right? If you're not somebody that deals in technology like we do on a day-to-day basis, you might not understand it right away. That's why we're here. We need to be able to pick up that phone and help you out. So I know there's a lot of questions in the Q&A, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here and turn it over. But I really appreciate everybody showing up. It's our largest webinar in history, so it's great to see those milestones being hit. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and I would say I'm really, really appreciative of frankly, not just the overwhelming support we get on this webinar, the overwhelming positive support from our early access users, which, to be clear, there's a bunch of more requests, and we are also continuously using our nerdy AI analysis, data analysis tools to continuously see how people are using the co-host and how we can improve it. And there's been tons and tons of feedback, very, very meaningful feedback on how we can expand it, make it better, automatically do more on your behalf. But we also were at a point where we didn't want to keep this from you guys. We just wanted to get it out there, put it in your hands, and just develop it further over the next couple of months and years. But besides all that support, I'm also very, very appreciative of the fact that we were recognized industry-wide. We won a shorty for our AI technology, basically the best PMS AI technology in the world. And also we got recognized by G2 as being an industry leader and overall innovator, which I think is not easy to get those things. So I've been very, very appreciative of those things as well. So then it's too warm to go for a full hour, but let's see how many of the questions we can answer in the actual kind of chats. I'm just going to start rubbing off, or Marcus.
I think there's two questions that people have here that I've seen a lot of them being asked. One is how do I get access? Well, the great thing is if you're a Hostaway customer, you just log into your dashboard, you have access right away. It's right there. Maybe you need to reload your page. And the second question is how much does it cost? Doesn't cost anything. It's included in the Hostaway subscription. So yeah, Rick, let's get to the other questions. There was one I wanted to ask you about. I can answer it if you don't want to, but how is this different from the similar functionalities on other PMSs? Because you have a lot of experience in that area.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think there's other PMSs that have been trying to build stuff like this, and I think it has a very nice marketing wow effect, but it either doesn't really work in practice, or what we also see, unfortunately, is it doesn't exist. So we wanted to make sure also, therefore, that we're not just doing a marketing announcement and we are making a big noise around it, but exactly like you said, Marcus, we're launching it today, and it's available to every single Hostaway user as of today. The other part is, as the largest, PMS in the industry, we've had a huge amount of investments. We're the first unicorn in the space, and we are basically the best suited position to train and build solutions that really, take into account all our experience and knowledge that we see on how all different type of operators in different geos, different languages, different type of business models actually operate day to day. And lastly, the big pillar that we are really kind of betting on as well is the act pillar, right? So our co-host is not just something where you can get some answers, but over time, we're going to be able to allow you to really kind of do stuff on behalf of you and automate it as much as possible. I see there's a lot of questions already in the chat around things like MCP servers and tying it together with your own integrations. And I'm not ready to kind of commit to even more and ship more stuff today, but I'm just going to say, keep an eye on us and our webinars. And it's very, very clear that co-host value just doesn't need to live only inside the Hostaway dashboard. So that's a small teaser. I'll leave that on because I saw that there was, I think, 15 questions around that specific topic.
Yeah. Also keep in mind this is quite unique because there's nobody in the entire world that has access to more data when it comes to vacation rentals than we do. When you think about it, sure, Airbnb is big, but they literally have no clue about your expenses. They don't know who your cleaners are. They don't know who are the owners of the properties. They don't. They can check how quickly you respond to messages, and how much money you're making from Airbnb, but they know nothing about the rest. All the data is here in Hostaway, and that's what makes this so powerful. There's one question from Imram. He's saying we're using marketplace partners for operations management and guest management. Will the AI still be as effective considering comms are not 100% inside Hostaway? If you're using marketplace partners, we'd love to have your product team talk to us directly. Obviously, it will be more powerful the more it's here inside the system. However, you can also talk to those marketplace partners and see what data is missing inside Hostaway because they have full access to our API and the ability to put in the right data there so that the co-hosts can be as effective as possible. So Imran, thanks a lot for the question.
I think there was also a question around, can I use this in combination with AI auto-replies? And can I have co-host just automatically update my knowledge base? I'm going to be very honest with you. Today, no, but this is a perfect example of what we mean with our ACT kind of pillar. So over the next couple of months, we're going to be able to kind of do exactly what you're describing, not just give you the insights, but also allow you to kind of configure an automatic knowledge base to kind of all the features that we've been building over the last couple of years, but especially the AI features we've been shipping the last two years as well. We want to tie this all together. So I couldn't find the name of the person that was asking this, but if you are basically using our AI auto replies functionality, over time, absolutely those trends that you are describing, like what type of common issues or common requests or common kind of FAQ things are going to be able to automatically be suggested by co-host to be added to your knowledge base, and also be able to kind of just click a button, say, yes, this makes sense. Alex, okay, Alex was asking the question. Sorry, Alex, there's hundreds of questions, so it's going really fast, but thank you for raising your hand.
I'll
So
take one here from anonymous attendee. I usually don't answer anonymous. It would be nice to know your name, but you're asking, will there be a point when we need to pay extra for co-host, or will it be continue to be included in our Hostaway membership? I hope it will continue to be included. I would like to remind everyone, though, I just checked in the first quarter this year, OpenAI, which is just one many AI companies, they lost $3.7 billion. That is how much they're spending to make sure that if you use ChatGPT, which not everyone uses, there's a lot of other solutions out there. Gemini and Claude are the two biggest competitors. At some point, that changes. Those who remember when Uber came out, it was cheaper and better than taxis. Now it's most of the time worse and more expensive than taxis. And yeah, that's what happens. We can't impact what's going to happen with the monetization on AI in the future. What I can say, though, is if you think there are companies out there that are going to burn several billion dollars every month for the rest of your lives, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Amazon was making a loss for 20 years, but they certainly weren't losing $1 billion a month. So yeah, I don't have an answer to that question, anonymous attendee. I do think it's a relevant question, though. And I think it's a relevant question in a much broader context, not just about the Hostaway AI co-host, but in terms of where the world is going overall. But maybe we can take that discussion over a beer if you have a name, anonymous attendee.
Cool. I see a question from Judy. Can co-hosts to be trained to match a host communication style? For example, can we customize tone, length, and response preferences so replies stay concise and stay aligned with our brand instead of generating longer, more generic responses? Judy, I have amazing news for you. You can already do this today. So if you go into your AI auto-reply settings, you can change your tone of voice. You can change it with custom instructions. You can align it with the way you normally respond to customers, as well as create rules how you want to respond in every time of kind of type of inquiry. So this is something that's already possible today. I also see a lot of questions around data access, right? Like, how do I make sure that I give more people access to this, or how can I make sure fewer people get access to this? And Hostaway already from the ground up was built around a very strong permission system, right? So whenever you go into our user settings, you are able to specifically determine what every single user in your account is allowed to see or not to see. And that goes from a kind of an area of the platform. So are they allowed to see finances, reservations, listing details, guest details? But it's also about specific listings. So only for these specific listings, they're allowed to see these things. As I said before, co-host is built in a way that it respects the context of the user, which means that co-host is also built in a way to only show it data, information, and insights from properties, listings, and information that the user has access to. So whenever you are kind of want to add more people to your kind of get other people inside the co-host as well, it will just work like you were expected with Hostaway PMS itself as well, right? It will work out of the box and will respect all the kind of BART guardrails that you've configured for it. I will also say, as a sneak peek, over the next couple of months, we are also further enhancing our permission system to go even deeper than what we're already able to do today. But that's a sneak peek on coming out in the future as well. I think Cassidy McQueen was also asking, can an option be added to download a PDF of these reported pools? Can an option be added to download a PDF of these reports it pulls? I think that's an excellent idea, Cassidy. We don't have that today, but this is exactly the type of things why I wanted to get this out in the world, right? There's always more stuff to build. It's always possible to make it more perfect, build more integrations, do more. But this is exactly the reason why I wanted to get it out in your hands today, because this is a very good point where I think the team can look at adding PDF exports. I think the other question was also, can I have these reports be generated automatically on a weekly basis or a monthly basis? And this is also coming soon. So as part of our Act pillar, you're going to be able to just schedule these type of operations, because how useful it is as well, you're probably not going to always ask different questions every single day, right? You're going to probably also wake up every Monday and ask the same thing to co-host. And we are aware that that's basically what life is of being a business owner. So over time, you're also going to be able to configure what type of reports you want to schedule automatically to either pop up in co-host or being sent by email. We're still figuring out what makes most sense for this, but actually doing this in a way that it exports to PDF is, I think, a great question, Cassidy. So thanks for the question. Cody is also asking, not to do with this, but have been wanting to implement pictures in my automated messages. Can we please work on allowing that? So I think I'm going to refer that to the product manager of our communications domain, and I'm going to see if we can actually get those pictures as part of the auto messages, Cody. So that's another good shout as well. There's so many questions, Marcus, Josh, Alex. You guys got to help me because I'm trying to go through it, but there's a.
Yeah, I'm looking. So a lot of these are really kind of future focused. So
How does the AI CoHost get the information for our properties? Is it chat or is it a Q&A? Now, Munir, this is an actual kind of real-time chat with your Hostaway data, right? So this is not just a set of predetermined questions only. This is an actual interactive large language model-based AI solution that is continuously pulling in data from your account and is using so-called smart reasoning models to determine what the best course of action is, to give you recommendations, pull stuff, and basically answer your questions. So it's a lot more deeper than that. Do the questions, and Catalin was also asking, do the questions and answers feed the knowledge base over time? EA is a learning tool. I think I mentioned this before. So Catalin, this is exactly what the next step is going to be here as well, to make sure it feeds into that knowledge base. It's already able to determine these patterns and these type of questions that are being kind of recurrently requested, like you've seen in even the demo, I think. But being able to push that back into the knowledge base is going to be our next step. I think maybe also taking a step back and like explaining this a little bit more is that we quite deliberately wanted to start with the ask and analyze parts only. We want to see how you guys use this, how you actually kind of do this day to day, and also hear from you, right? Like, what are the most valuable things that you think CoHost could do on your behalf? And once you get more comfortable and like more confidence also in how CoHost works, I think that's a good point for us, the product team and engineering team, to start applying the actual ability to get actions being done as well, straight from within the CoHost windows.
I see a lot of questions here that I know we won't have enough time to answer, but the good news is that AI CoHost can probably answer a lot of them, specifically on how the data is being used by AI CoHost. So feel free to try it out at the same time. Maybe it can answer quite a few of these already.
Okay, I think that's a natural time to cut things off today. There's plenty more questions and we'd love to answer them. So please reach out to your customer success manager. They get back to you super quick, as Josh mentioned. Thanks so much for joining. We're so excited about this feature and we can't wait to see what comes next. So thank you all. Thank you to the panelists, and start using. Let us know how you like it.
Thanks a lot, guys. Let us know what you think about it. Thanks.
Thanks.